All right, what is going on, Banter fam? Welcome into today's edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle, and as always, we are going to be diving into the crypto gaming, metaverse, and NFT markets today. And really, when you look at the overall sentiment of the market, we have Bitcoin and all the major alts red for both 24 hours and the week. But when you filter up on some projects that we have been discussing on the channel, we do have Network up at 20%. We have Pegaxy still bucking the trend up 50% this week. Sandbox released some pretty big news today that we'll cover also. They're up 10% for the day. So good to see a couple of gaming and metaverse tokens going against the grain in the market sentiment today. But we're going to go over a couple news pieces from a couple of the major projects we covered on the channel, as there's kind of a lot in the Twitter sphere and the news space for crypto gaming today. And then we're going to dig into a Pegaxy earnings guide. So a lot of people just want to know how to play, if I want to race, if I want to rent. What can I expect to earn off of one horse, 5 horses? What are my earnings with my 21 horses? So people kind of just want to know how to get involved. We're going to go over all that here today. So without further ado, let's get in the game.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know we gon' play, but ain't a percent. If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know we gon' play, but ain't a play. If you get lost, show you the way.
All right, and let's get right into it with what I was really prefacing at the end of December and the beginning of this month to start farming that Ron token if you hadn't already. Well, Ron is now live, and that is the blockchain that powers Axie Infinity, guys. They came out with this pretty cool, visual graphic of an Axie kind of like picking the Ron off of a plant here, kind of making it clear that, it is time to claim your Ron. And right now, Ron is doing pretty well off the start. It's at about a $500 million market cap, $3.5 billion diluted. But this is still majorly undervalued, in my opinion. When you just take a look at everything considered here, this is the Sky Mavis built Axie Infinity blockchain. So it processes all the transactions for Axie Infinity, the number one play to earn game in the space. And right now, as you see here, all-time sales volume by blockchains. And I will just try to zoom this in for you so it's easier to see. So by sales volume here, we literally have Ronin, number 2, as far as sales volume all time for NFT transactions. That is very, very strong. And we're looking at Solana underneath it, which is a multi-billion, a top 10 token. We're looking at Wax, which is a billion-dollar project. Polygon, $1 billion project. So in my opinion, Ronin at the $500 million and $3.5 billion diluted market cap, I still think that's pretty value levels. If you're still looking to get involved, you can still farm Ron on their site. And just a little bit of stats behind Ron. 4 million wallet downloads, top 5 Ethereum bridge by TVL. And in 2021, Ronin processed 15% of all NFT sales volume, and it is very energy efficient. And you can take a look at all that here and more. And just yesterday, guys, the Ronin network processed 467,000 unique users, and the Ethereum network had 497,000 unique users. Like he says, probably nothing, probably nothing. But I think that's major volume, guys. As you see here, the Ronin token is trading at about 373 with major volume over the 24 hours. But just to kind of show, 290 million transactions on this blockchain. There's 9.6 million unique addresses. This is an amazing blockchain, and it is completely fueling the number one play to earn economy in the space. And you can still get involved in these pools. There's 160% APR up here. These rewards are going down. The allocation of rewards have gone down a little bit now that the token is live. There's 160% for Axie and ETH pool. The SLP is about 541%. And the new pool here, Ron and ETH pool. So you can LP these and start farming more Ron. So this is a good way to still get involved and just kind of put your Axie or RON tokens that you've been farming to work. In my opinion, this is a no-brainer. And where the market is right now, we're definitely at a downtrend. Bitcoin's at like 36,000. If we saw a run back up here, whether it's next month, whether it's next week, or whether it's in 3 months, if we get back up to the 40, 45,000, 50,000 levels, I see Ron and other gaming projects similar to it doing major things. So right now, I do think it's still undervalued, but good to see that this is now live because we have been talking about it for quite some time. And now I want to get into the Sandbox. So the Sandbox yesterday did a massive airdrop to their land holders. So shout out if you own land. I believe they sent out, I don't know if it was 100 or 500 free sand tokens to all land owners. It was one of the two. So shout out to any Sandbox landowners. That was a major win for you yesterday. And today they come up with a $50 million fund for its accelerator program. And what this kind of reminds me of, obviously, it's kind of like their own version of like an Avalanche Rush, or what Ubisoft is doing. Ubisoft is bringing in a lot of blockchain projects for like an accelerator program for these startups. And as you see here, they will allocate $250,000 in investment to each potential project to give additional incentives to top performing projects. So basically, they're going to allow these startups to come in and build and try to kind of build a business side of things in the metaverse in Sandbox. And what they're going to do, they're going to allocate this to 30 to 40 blockchain startups a year. And this is also in collaboration with one of their major VCs, Animoca Brands. So this is a big deal here because they're trying to bring more new businesses and startups, tech companies, marketing firms, anything out there that really wants to try to get into the metaverse, because you'll be surprised whenever the Sandbox goes live. There will be things in the metaverse strictly for advertising. Real world businesses will strictly just advertise in the metaverse. That will be a thing. So a lot of these startups will be able to get in here and build something of quality inside the metaverse. And the bonuses for these projects and these startups include digital assets, land, and digital real estate within the Sandbox metaverses. I think it's a no-brainer if you're looking to get into the metaverse to try to get involved with that if you are a small business or a startup. And then on top of that, the Sandbox says we're going to double down and we're going to partner up with Warner Music Group to create music-themed land. And we already know that Snoop Dogg is already involved in the Sandbox metaverse, guys. So that is already taken care of. They're making a music initiative and partnering up with the Warner Music Group. I mean, they have major international artists. I believe, like, whenever I looked it up, it was Ed Sheeran, J Balvin, a bunch of like very internationally well-known artists. And Warner Music Group is going to bring a little bit of a music taste into the Sandbox. So a couple of major news bits for Sand, and that is why it is up 10% today. And even though yesterday, I wasn't taking shots at it because it's a quality project, but what is a metaverse, right? And I think Sandbox is a virtual world within a game. I would more say it is a game. But regardless, good to see a quality project like this bouncing and continuing their push forward for these institutions and these small businesses to get involved in the metaverse, which I absolutely love. Phantasma, guys. We've talked about Phantasma so many times on this channel. Phantasma, I love it. It's $1.70 right now, about $170 million market cap. Layer 1 smart NFT blockchain built for gaming. The big deal here, their pavilion on their network and on the Phantasma chain, which is already live with multiple games. We actually talked about the pavilion on Monday or Tuesday on this channel. The Pavilion Hub is now partnered with AMD, Advanced Micro Devices, a Fortune 500 company, which does graphics cards and does rendering capabilities for tons of projects out there. This is one of the biggest projects you could really partner with when you're talking about back-end graphical function in the metaverse and for games. And the Pavilion has made this partnership here with Advanced Micro Devices. I definitely think that that's a strong partnership. And when you take a look across the blockchain, AMD is partnering with projects like Ultra. Now they're partnered with Phantasma's partnered Pavilion. They're kind of making these top tier partnerships for these upcoming projects. I really like that. And just really strong partnerships being made across the board. Sandbox. And then also you take a look at Phantasma. So very, very strong partnerships coming to the forefront. And I think that this is just the beginning, guys. We're going to see so much more interest, so much more partners of these big corps coming into the metaverse. AMD, a Fortune 500 company, is just the start, guys. Ubisoft, as far as a AAA studio getting involved, just the start. So if you are here today in crypto gaming and in metaverses, you are still, in my opinion, leading the charge, because once Amazon gets involved and once Apple gets involved and once my mom is texting me how to get involved in the metaverse, it's too late, right? So you want to be here before it's mainstream. And I think you are safely here before it is mainstream. The blockchain is catching that mainstream adoption a little bit, but not so much gaming and metaverse yet. And I think people are sleeping on that. And Vulcan Forged, we've talked about so many times on this channel. It's about $10 today, and it's trending upwards as well. It's kind of come back down to the mean, but yeah, up about 5% today, still at about $10. The Vulcan Lava Ledger is coming live to their platform. They just keep continuously coming out with developments, guys. They got the hack, and that really set them back. They had to replenish. They're working on replenishing their treasury from the hack, but they refunded every single wallet that was compromised. And now you take a look. 500 of these Vulcan lava ledgers will be minted. If you own one, you're able to stake your lava inside the Vulcan City Bank with variable APY. Full release on Monday, January 31st. And what they're doing, guys, they just keep on developing, right? So they have these list of items that are coming to the Vulcanverse very, very soon. Just continuous updates, and these projects are not done. Like, Vulcanverse is still in the process of development, but you can get in there and start building on your land plots and start interacting inside the Vulcanverse. And actually on Saturday, you'll be able to catch Jamie Thompson, their CEO, on Bloomberg. He's been doing a lot of appearances, guys, really just trying to get the word out for play to earn gaming. He's not even talking about his project some of the time. You know, he's just talking about the forefront of NFT gaming and crypto gaming. And that's the type of minds that you want in the space leading the charge. And I think it's very bullish when we have projects, CEOs that are working on pushing the space forward, right? And that's exactly what Vulcan Forge is trying to do. Now, I'm very excited to get into this economy of Pegaxy. So to switch gears from news to action. So I've been talking about this economy for about a month and a half now. We brought it up mid-December that I had a few horses. I was trying it out, and I've really scaled it up. I'm at about 21 horses now, but I want to give you a Pegaxy earnings guide, right? So how do you get involved in this economy? How can you get a couple of horses and start earning inside of Pegaxy? I'm going to show you here today. So you would start and you would just go to the marketplace and you would filter by horses, go price low to high. I would definitely work on sweeping the floor, because the floors are going up because the in-game token has gone up. So floor prices in this game, I've noticed, have dictated, are dictated by the Vigorus token, by the VIS token. So at some points, the horses were like $1,500. But then horses down here literally got to about $400. And now they're back at about $1,000 as the earnings have gone back up, right? But what is keeping the in-game token sustainable? Before we get into the game and how to play and how to rent your horses and stuff like that, how is this trending back up this way? When you take a look at Thetan Arena's in-game token, Thetan Arena's Thetan coin, which is the earnings coin, has done nothing but decline. You look at Smooth Love Potion, Axie Infinity's coin, absolutely nothing but decline here. After a couple of spikes, these in-game tokens have a lot of trouble staying sustainable, because these games don't have a way to put it back into the economy, or they don't have an efficient burn mechanism, right? So these in-game earnings tokens that we've seen across the space, they really have a pattern of just declining over time, which will de-incentivize the players from coming back and playing. So when you look at the Vigorus token, it's showing relative strength. And why is that the case? When you go to the dashboard and you look at the overview of the game, you can see that this week alone, more VIS has been burned than minted, right? So VIS is minted every single time you win a race for the prize pools, but it's healthy because they are burning more VIS on a weekly basis right now for breeding than they are printing it for the races. So it's super, super healthy. As you see here, the burn rate in this period of 1 week is 110%. And you can even stretch that out. We'll go 15 days here, 97% burn rate. So a total of 323 million minted VIS and 312 million burned VIS. So they are almost burning the exact rate that they are minting into the economy, which is keeping the price stable for the in-game earning token. So that is huge to keep track of, guys. I think that, you know, when you're looking at games and the earnings, you have to look at a mechanism like this that's going to keep things stable. And I really, really like that peg of the economy that kind of keeps VIS at a level where players are incentivized to keep playing. So that tokenomics are very, very well done. And also you can just go into your assets. So you would take a look at the horses, and I'll just show you one of my horses. So this is the kind of horse that I would like to buy. You take a look, it's got like 7% speed, 5% strength, 5% lightning, 5% wind, 8% water. So it's a well-rounded horse. I don't need maxed out stats on everything. I don't need the best horse in the game because right now it's pretty RNG based. And that's random number generated. So it's basically very, very random, the results of the races. It's not like skill based. The player doesn't have to have a certain skill or technicalities to win. It is all random. And right now, guys, it is a 2D racing game. So let's say you buy this horse, you go into racing, and you pick a Pega. So as you see here, my horse will load up. And you can see my stats, all that. And I have 1 energy, which means I have 1 race out of my 25 races. So every hour you get a race back in your energy. So you basically want to make sure you're using your horses to their fullest. If you have a horse that's sitting at 25 out of 25, you're doing yourself a disservice because the less you race it, the more time it's going to take to pay it off, if that makes sense. So all you have to do is just sign on your wallet here, sign, and it'll send you right in to a race. And as you see here, it's very simple right now. It's a 2D game. And while it's loading up here, I'll let it do this in the background. But this is the 3D model that they are coming out with. So we're about to watch a race of the 2D game that is current. And it really isn't too interactive. You just press a button and you watch the race. This is definitely going to be a little more thrilling experience, like watching the design of the horses actually on different tracks. They're going to do stadium sales. So you're going to have different environments that you're racing in as well. So I think this is going to be a lot more interactive and actually fun for the player. It's going to be on mobile too. So you're going to be able to play a mobile app for the 3D model. So I really, really love that. But let's get back to the race here. People are still joining, so we're still waiting. So I'll go back to the 3D gameplay real quick. Kind of just show you what to expect. So this is a lot more interactive, a lot more appealing to the eye graphically. And I think that once it's on the mobile app, that's going to really, really be good for players because it's one thing for someone to feel like they have to sit around on their computer all day and play the game, but it's a lot easier. We're all on our phones all day. So if you can literally just race your horses and make your VIS earnings or your PGX earnings, whatever you choose to do within the economy, you can go 2 ways when it comes to the rental system. And we'll talk about that in a second, which is where I make most of my income within this game. I think that's the most lucrative side of it. But you will be able to play an interactive experience very soon. All right. So the race just filled up. Perfect timing. So we'll watch. I'm in the 5th slot here. And like I said, this is very hands off. You wait for the race, you press start, and then you kind of just watch the horses go down the track. They are coming out with that 3D model very soon. But right now I'm in first, guys. Let's see if we win. And this is all random. So, we will see if we get the money here. But this is the race system right now. It's very basic. And you can either choose to race your horses on your own, or you can choose to rent them out. It looks like I'm going to take this one, guys, unless a horse comes in and snags it from me. I think we got it. We did. Nice. Okay. You couldn't have scripted it better. But it's calculating the rewards. So my horse is getting its earnings, and we will wait for the final screen. Boom, boom. Katniss. So I won 105 VIS there. And I won the race, first place. It kind of shows you that. And you just go to the next match, and you would jump into the next race. So that is the racing side of things. But how do you rent out your horse? So let's say you own a bunch of horses like this. I can't logically race all 20 of my horses every single day. For 25 races, I would be attached to the computer all day, every day, if I was racing all 21 of my horses 25 times a day. So what do? You go and you click on your horse, and you go and it would be right here. If it's in your inventory, you would click rent out to race, and it would be put on the marketplace on the rental side. So when you go to the rental side, you can see there's horses for 20% profit share, 5% profit share, 5%, 10%. I do 70-30. A lot of people seem to do 10% for the player or 20% for the player. But when I look at like the amount of earnings, I feel like 70-30 is very generous, especially for how hands-off you are in the economy. So I do 70-30 for the scholars and the players that use my assets to race, but you can literally rent them out within the economy, and it's built in. So it's always in your assets. It's always visible to you. It's never technically owned by the scholar. It's just in their possession to race. So there's a middleman system that Pegaxy has in place here, where it sends to the player to be able to use. But as you can see here, all of my rented out horses are still in my inventory. So now the big question of what could you expect to make off of 1 horse or 5 horses, right? Or 10 horses. So let's just take a look at what I have been doing. So the last week, I recently scaled up to 21 horses. And right now I'm at about 30,000, 29.5 for the week on this earned. When you go to the calculator, I just did 29,000 times the price. So times 0.12 of this is right now we see this is, 12 cents. So you go and right now this week, that would equate to 3,480 USD. And as you could do the math, if that held even at 29,000, and even not in, there's 2 more days here that the earnings could go up. The earnings are uptrending recently because I scaled up my horses. So even just at this rate, at this earnings level, you times that by 4, you're making about $13,000 off of 21 horses every single month off of this economy if you have 20 horses. So let's just dumb that down, right? So if you have 1 horse, you would be looking at $700 a month. You would still pay off your horse within 2 months. So that's when you have to also look at it. What's the payoff time, right? So all in all, I put a good amount into the game, but I'm still going to be able to pay it off very fast with this earning rate. My investment will be paid off within a month, 2 months. And you can pay this off super quickly, guys. So you could still make $700 in 1 month off of 1 horse. So yes, $1,000 for a horse might seem high, but you have to, it's the old saying, you gotta have money, or like I guess what would the best statement be? Takes money to make money type of thing. And if you're willing to, like a savings account or like staking, put a good amount into the horses, it will pay back. And these are the type of economies you want to look for because they are very lucrative and they were very under the radar up until recently. And I think that this is something that's definitely worth consideration, whether it's 1 horse or whether it's 5 horses, whether it's 10 horses. 1 horse is paid off within 2 months at the current rate. And I think that's a heck of a bargain because everything from there is profit. I've been preaching this game for a long time, guys, and I just want to kind of open people's eyes to the real potential of this game. And I just think it's too much to pass up. And I think it's the best earning economy to get involved in right now that's completely passive because I don't race a single one of my horses. I only race just to show you the gameplay. So if you get involved in this economy, whether it's 1 horse or whether you scale it up to a ton of horses, you can definitely start making money within this economy. And then also there is a breeding system. So if you have a male and you have a female, you can breed and you can make a baby Pega and it would cross the bloodlines and you would get a horse. It's basically a product of the ones that you bred. So there is a breeding system and that's where the mint, the burn process comes in for the VIS token. So I just wanted to kind of get a little bit of an earnings guide and a little more grasp of the economy out there. How is this staying stable, right? And obviously it's because of the mint versus burn rate. The fact that they're burning more of the in-game token than producing is super bullish, and there's more demand for players than there are horses in the economy. So that is something to definitely take a look at. And once it's, I see a question on the chat too. Do you lose money? No, you don't lose money in a race. You just race. Only top 3, only the top 3 places actually get paid out. And no, you don't lose money for losing a race. So there's no downside once you buy the horse. The only downside would be the depreciation of the in-game token, which they are definitely doing a lot to balance out. So that's a good question. And also shout out to Ran. Ran's out here playing DeRace. Ran's Frontrunner horse, absolutely killing it, the Banter horse. We need to get Ran on an upcoming show to bring on the DeRace horse and show us what it's all about. Because from what I'm looking at, it looks like there's no competition on the entire racetrack. So Ran, if you're watching this, you need to hop on the show. bring the DeRace horse and get it in action, because I have one DeRace horse, but I haven't really been active yet in the game. So definitely bring it on, and we would love to see Frontrunner in action here on the show. He said, winning every race. I wouldn't doubt it. It is a beautiful looking horse, just smoking the competition. And guys, I also just want to kind of point out, Pegaxy has definitely stole a lot of the shine from DeRace. DeRace is now 4 times under the value of Pegaxy. You know, Pegaxy's at a, what is it? At $780 million market cap. DeRace is now sitting at a $190 million market cap. So now DeRace went from very, very hyped to kind of under the radar, in my opinion. So if you're looking at value where this thing was, right? DeRace was up at $8, almost mid $7 ranges. Things have definitely shifted in the market, and now this is 3.5 times under the value of Pegaxy. So definitely something to take a look at. And I think that, you know, these type of games are going to have a good amount of capital flowing through them, and these horse racing games will be fruitful for the ones who do get involved. But that's really going to wrap it up, guys. I kind of just wanted to get into an in-depth look into the economy. How is it so sustainable? How is it so lucrative for owners and players? Well, it's because of the profit share model, where the scholars can rent the assets for no money down, but they can get a share of the profits, and the burn rate of the in-game token is keeping it from doing this, which is just, this drives players away, right? When you're taking away the incentive in the game, this right here drives players out of the economy a little bit. So the burning mechanic is amazing, and I think it's one of the healthiest economies in the space. But I'm going to get out of here, guys. If you got value out of today's video, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more in the game every single weekday here on Crypto Banter. I am your host, Hustle, and I'll be back on Friday with another edition of In the Game. Play well, my friends.